What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today we got the Season 2 trailer for Modern Warfare 2, or more specifically Warzone 2. Only 20 seconds of that trailer actually applied to the paid version of the game. In either case, there's really nothing to point out in that we don't already know from blog posts. So instead, we're going to focus on the other big thing that was released today, and this is a full-on blog post for ranked play, which is also coming in Season 2. And it looks like there are a lot of new features and things, and I wanted to cover the details of that today. So starting it off, of course, ranked play is going to be 4v4, and it's going to have all the same rule sets and restrictions as the CDL. So you won't be able to use absolutely every item that's available in pubs, and we won't be playing on all of the maps and playing all of the modes. Instead, we're just playing Hardpoint, Search and Destroy, and Control on the curated selection of competitive maps. As for the ranking itself, we have two separate ranking systems within this. The first system is your SR rank, and this is where you grind through the skill divisions. So this is the rank that's directly tied to your performance and your skill in ranked play. And with this, there are 8 different divisions. We have Bronze, Silver, Gold, Platinum, Diamond, Crimson, Iridescent, and then Top 250. They also go on to mention that every one of these skill divisions below Iridescent will have 3 tiers attached to it, so there's a little bit more granularity there, and you have to grind your way up through those tiers by improving your skill rating. And with this, in order to increase your SR, your skill rating, it's going to be primarily based on whether or not you win or lose a match, but individual performance does play a role as well. And they also mention in the higher skill divisions, more emphasis is going to be placed on team performance rather than individual performance. And I actually kind of like the sounds of that. I feel like if you're just dominating games really early on in like Bronze or Silver, then yeah, it should be jumping you up pretty quickly to get you to your appropriate rank. But then once you do start to get to those higher ranks, that's where things really truly become a lot more competitive. And in that case, I feel like this is where team play is even more important than ever. Now, probably the biggest change with ranked play this year is we no longer have placement matches to determine roughly where you should be placed to start off with. So in previous Call of Duty games with ranked play, usually you play 5 placement matches, so you don't get a ranking until those 5 matches are complete, and depending on your performance in those matches, it will determine which skill division to start you off in, so then you continue your grind from there. This time around, every single player starts off as a Bronze player. And with that, you have to grind your way up through the ranks. And when it comes to this, I have some mixed feelings. Part of me feels like placement matches are important with a ranking system, so then you don't have people that are really good players starting off in Bronze and just absolutely annihilating actual Bronze players that belong there. It does seem a little bit unfair to be placing them together. But I guess that does depend on how quickly you will progress out of that. Like if you really dominate people when you play your Bronze matches, hopefully it'll bump you up very quickly so you're not sticking around in Bronze continuing to stomp on them. But on the other hand of this, when it comes to those placement matches, I think one of the reasons they're getting rid of placement matches is when they launched ranked play last year with Vanguard, the way that they handled your placement after those matches was horribly flawed and very discouraging to a lot of players, and I was one of those players. One of the reasons I was instantly turned off with ranked play in Vanguard is I dominated every single one of my placement matches. Not only as a team did we win by a large margin, but I also personally performed very well in all of my placement matches. And therefore, after those 5 placement matches performing so well, you would think you're going to get a pretty decent starting point. However, unfortunately, it put me in the bottom 50% of players after my placement matches. And after seeing many people losing a bunch of their placement matches and not performing particularly well, being placed significantly higher in the ranking systems, that was obviously very discouraging to me. So I think that's what they're trying to avoid here by eliminating placement matches entirely and just letting everybody start from the same point. And obviously the higher skill players will progress a lot faster than the lower skill players. And I am curious to see how this ends up playing out. As for the next section of this, I want to talk about partying up with other players. And it turns out from Bronze through Platinum, anybody can play with anybody. Platinum players can play with Bronze players, no problem. However, once you get to Diamond or Crimson, you can only form parties with and play against other people that are within 2 skill divisions of you. So a Diamond player won't be able to play against Bronze or Silver players, and Crimson players won't be able to play against Bronze, Silver, or Gold players. And when it comes to the Iridescent and Top 250 divisions, these ones can only play with and against other players that are within 1 skill division of themselves. And this all sounds great to me. It's quite forgiving on the lower ends, so people can party up with a pretty wide variety of players. But as you get to those higher divisions, you definitely want them to be more competitive, and therefore you want a smaller gap between the skill levels of all the players. Now finally, when it comes to skill divisions for ranked play, at the end of the ranked play season, Your highest skill division placement throughout that season determines which one of the rewards you will earn, as well as where you start with the next season. So next season, you're not going to start all the way at bronze again and have to work your way up, unless, of course, you were bronze or silver, because for anybody that ends the season between bronze or crimson, they will start one skill division back from where they ended. Obviously, bronze can't go back anymore, so they'll just start off as bronze. And then for the iridescent and top 250 players, they will all start at the diamond tier 1 skill division, and they will have Demotion Protection enabled for several matches. So that should keep those really high skill players out of the lower divisions when the season first starts, after season 1 completes. And that covers it for the skill rating part of ranked play. However, there is another ranking system that goes alongside this, and these are separate from your skill rating, and instead it represents your cumulative progress in ranked play. And with this, you start at rank 1 and work your way all the way up to rank 50, and essentially all you do to advance through these ranks is win games. For every win that you get, you're awarded a star, and if you earn enough stars, you progress to the next rank. From the sounds of it, it appears that you never go backwards when it comes to ranks, so losing games won't set you back. It's just basically counting your cumulative wins over time, and it doesn't get reset at the end of the season. This rank will carry through, I believe, for the entire life cycle of Modern Warfare 2. And the rank is what determines what your ranked play emblem will look like. So it starts off with that snake emblem, and then it just progresses through different animals as you increase your rank. And the skill division that you're in at that current point in time will determine the color of that emblem. So the animal that you see in the icon more so just displays your time played or how much you've invested into ranked play for the most part, whereas the color of it is what shows off your actual skill level in ranked play. So there we go, that's the ranking. Now let's talk about a great new feature that they're bringing to this, and this appears to be targeting one of the biggest issues that ranked play has had over the years with Call of Duty, and this is uneven matches where people disconnect or drop out of the match, whether intentionally or unintentionally. And the first thing they're going to be doing here is a ranked play match will not start if the teams are uneven. So if as you're loading into the match, a player backs out or disconnects from the game before the match has actually started, it simply won't start the match. You can't start a game 3v4, and instead it'll just back everybody out of the lobby, which does sound like it might get annoying and abused by people. Like, people may end up just disconnecting from matches just to troll people and waste their time. But at least when that happens, you're not going to be losing any SR rank if you have a random teammate drop out, so that's good news. Additionally, if throughout the course of a match after it's already started, one of the players on your team disconnects from the match, as long as that player isn't in your preset party, you will not lose any SR ranking if you lose that game. Now, if they are in your party, then you are sort of responsible for them in some sense, and you will lose some of that SR. And I do think that's well thought out and very fair as well, so people don't game the system trying to boost their friend up to a higher ranking, for instance, by dropping out of a match the moment it looks like you're going to lose in order to ensure that your friend doesn't lose any SR, even if it means you lose SR. And I do like how they're handling that. You are accountable to your party members if you back out of the game, because you will cause them to lose, but if you're not in a party and just a random teammate of yours leaves the game, you won't be punished for that. Also, it's worth noting there will be punishments if you leave games frequently. You will be temporarily locked out of ranked play. And also with this, they're adding Demotion Protection, which means when you advance to a new skill division, for the next 3 games that you play, you won't be able to lose your SR rank at all. And that just prevents you from instantly being demoted back to the division that you just came from, and I kind of like the idea of that as well. And then finally, within this blog post, they go on to outline some of the rewards that you'll be able to get throughout ranked play, and it looks like there's more rewards than ever before available for playing ranked play, and I think that's great. Hopefully that will encourage a lot of the more casual players to at least give ranked play a shot and see how it goes. I know that they often have a hard time converting regular public match players into ranked players because the game can be quite limiting. And with that, that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Overall, if we're just honing in on the ranked play aspect of this, I've got to say, on paper, it's looking really good. In fact, I'd go so far as to say that on paper, this appears to be the best ranked play system that we've ever had in Call of Duty. Now, of course, this opinion comes before we've got our hands on it. Perhaps that will change over time. Perhaps some flaws will start to shine through once we get our hands on it and play it. So don't judge me too harshly if it turns out to be terrible. But like I said, on paper and in isolation, separate from the other issues that are going on with the game, ranked play is looking really good so far. And that is where I want to hear from you guys in the comment section down below. What are your thoughts on how ranked play appears to be shaping up in Modern Warfare 2? Do you really like the direction they're taking things, or or do you see some potential issues with this? Just let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.